Hello everyone. We'll have a small session on how to build simple app using Iroha. I have prepared a GitHub repo for that. We should go to this repository. So this is a Iroha sample app, and as you see, it's working. I have already cloned it and created a project. So let's see what do we have here. It's written in Kotlin. Basically, we have one class, it's Iroha client, that does all the stuff. And we have some to-do things here. So we have to implement it. And later we have a test that should fail at the beginning because we have not implemented all the things. And also have some resources file like private public keys, configs, Genesis block, and so on. So our task is to make test work. Let's run it. Maybe it works at the beginning. I really doubt. Let's see. Yep, it fails, obviously. So first, as it says, we have to not implemented error, we have create some comments, but I think first of all we have to launch Iroha. So let's go to Iroha docs. So let's just Google Iroha and documentation. And I would go to getting started. So we'll start an Iroha node. First of all, let's create Iroha network. Yep. I'll change it here. Now let's start Postgres container because we use Postgres as storage. Yep, it's ran. Now we have to create a block store volume where we'll store our blocks. It's done. We don't need it since we already have everything we need. Now we have start Iroha container. But I will do one small change here. As you see, I run my container named Iroha with port forwarding. Here we have to forward volumes, but not to Iroha example, but to resources. Because now we're located in the main directory of the project here, so we have to forward resources. I also have block store. And I will use the latest branch, not the develop one. Latest. Let's see. Oh, it worked. Now we're inside the container that has Iroha. And I'd like to tell right now that I will do a lot of mistakes here because the purpose of this session is to show the common mistakes that people usually do doing some apps on Iroha. So I'll do a lot of mistakes, so it will be on purpose. So let's move on. Let's start Iroha daemon. Oh, the first mistake. What does it say? The document is empty. So let's see what do we have here. We start Iroha daemon with config file named config.docker and with Genesis block named Genesis block and keeper name node 0. Let's see, maybe we don't have these files. We have Genesis block, we have node 0, and we have config. But I think the problem is that here we have config sample and here we have config docker. So let's rename it config sample. Oh, now it's better. What does it say here? Iroha D connection to Postgres broken. Could not translate host name Postgres. Let's check our config. You see here we have config for Postgres. The host is Postgres, but as far as I remember, we have run some Postgres. Let's check it. A new tab. Okay. Yes. As you see, yeah, we have a container named some Postgres, not Postgres. So let's rename it. Some Postgres and try again. It already tried to write something into ledger, so let's overwrite everything. Overwrite. ledger. Oh, now it's done. So Iroha initialized. That's cool. Now we have a running Iroha, and let's move on implementing that stuff. Let's just take a look at the file. What do we have here? So we have our model, our crypto things. We have transaction builder. We have query builder. We have query counter. We have a channel through which we'll communicate with Iroha. We have commands tab. We have that to-do function, some helper functions to get keys, get current time, amount to long. The point is that Iroha stores amount as uint 256, and we have somehow to convert it to long to work with in Kotlin. One helper function to byte array, read key from file, prepare query, and so on. Send query, get rows, send transaction, request stats. As you see, a lot of stuff to do. So let's move on to the first one. We don't have create account, but maybe let's move on through the test. What do we need here? So basically, this test does some changes on the ledger and then checks if everything went well. So client.run does all the changes. Let's see. So we have to create account named Bob in the main domain. Then we have to create account named Alice in the same domain. Then we'll have to create asset. How is it called? Asset will be Sora. Then we have to add some assets. Then we'll transfer this asset from admin to Alice. Then we have to get Alice balance, and we will transfer half of Alice balance to Bob twice. And then we'll check the result. So let's move on with implementation. So create account. So to do create account command, cool. First of all, to create the account command, we need transaction builder, tx builder. Every transaction must have a created time. Created time. We have a helper function. So get current time. But as you see, the required is big integer, but get current time returns as long. So we can build a big integer out of long. Big integer. Value of. That's it. Now, every transaction should have a creator account ID. Here we have passed creator. Then it should have a command. So in our case, it's create account. Create account. So what do we have here? We must specify the account name. So it will be user. Then domain ID, domain, and then public key. It looks good. Now, if we use a builder, of course, at the end we have to build it. So build. That's all. We have a transaction. Now we have to send it. So as far as I know, we have a helper function for that. Let's see, send transaction. Yeah, we have it, and let's send it. Send transaction. So as you see, it takes unsigned transaction. UTX. UTX stands for unsigned transaction, and the creator. Am I right? Yep. So it looks good. Let's try again. Let's run it. Something's going on. As you see here, we have some logs. Okay. Now for testing purposes, let's print line the result here. So as you see, create account will return us will return some information. Yeah, the status. So let's run it one more time and see what happened there. Stateful validation failed. As far as I know, in Iroha we have two stages of validation. First one is stateless, when we check if the format is correct, if it's not too big, not too small, and so on. When we check the fields, if everything is okay, it goes to Iroha, and then it is checked for stateful validation. We need stateful validation. When we do stateful validation, we go into the ledger and we see if you have the right permission, if you have enough assets to do some stuff. And almost always the issue is in permissions, so you might not have a permission to do that. If you take a look to the logs, you'll see that it's stateless success, so everything was formed well, but it's stateful invalid. So let's see what we want to do here. So we want to create account. So the creator, the creator account, the creator of the transaction, obviously he must have a right to create account. So let's check the Genesis block. Here we do it from the name of admin. So the admin must have a right to create account. Let's see. So we have add peer command, create role admin, create role user, create domain. Okay, create account admin. In domain edit main. As far as I see, the admin has a default role user. So let's append him a new role. Append role. Now let's check the docs for the right command. API reference commands, and we need append role. So we need account ID and role name. Account ID. So it's admin and role name. It's also admin. Cool. Let's see if account if the role admin has the right to create account. No, it does not. Let's add it. Create account. Yeah, should work. Let's try. Stateful validation still failed. The point is, when you change Genesis block, you must restart a ledger. Failed to purge Genesis. Oh, interesting. What happened here? Let's see. It's can create account. Let's try one time. Failed to insert control admin. Account ID admin is not present in table account. Interesting. Create account admin. And the account ID is account name and domain name. Main. Oh, now it's right. Let's run it. Yeah, it's committed. So everything looks good now. With the first command, of course. For testing purpose, let's write everything here. And here. Let's copy it. And here. Transfer asset also. Now let's run everything and see what it does. You see, it's again stateful validation failed. But why? Let's see. Oh, you see, it failed to insert account Alice because it already exists. So if you want to run the script again, you have to restart your ledger because, of course, it does some changes, and then you try to do it one more time, and it will fail. So let's do it. First one is okay. Second one also worked. The third one didn't work. Stateful validation failed. Why? Let's see, create asset. Everything is implemented, and I think it might be the case that the problem is in permission. So who wants to create the asset? Also admin. Let's check if he can create an asset. So he can add asset, but he cannot create it. Can create asset. Okay, let's restart the ledger, run it again. First one is okay. And the second one is too. Oh, and the third one went well. Now we have one more not implemented error. So create add asset quantity command. So let's do it. We already know that we have to use TX builder. Every transaction should have a created time. Created time. It's a big integer value. Oops. Value of get current time. And then it has a creator account ID, which is creator. And then it has a command. The command in this case is add asset quantity. So what do we have here? We have account ID. It's a creator in our case. Then it has asset ID, asset, and then amount. And see, we have to pass amount as a string, but here we have long, so we just use toString. Yes, it's so easy. Then we have to build it. That's right. We have a new command. As far as I see, nothing else. Let's restart the ledger and run it again. I would be surprised if the first one failed. Let's see. Oh, now we have 4 committed commons transactions. Now we have to implement create transfer command. See? So the schema is the same. TX builder. then created time. Actually, you can do creator quantity first, so it doesn't matter. In this case, when we transfer asset, we have from, to, and the asset. In this case, the creator of the transaction will be the one who sends money, but it should be different. It could be different. Created time, big integer, value of get current time. That's it. Then transfer asset, source account from, destination to, asset ID asset, description. We don't need it for now, and the amount, also as in previous example, to string. Then build. Looks good. So let's give it a try. Reboot the ledger. Looks good. Stateful validation failed. So it failed on the fifth one, so on transfer asset. Let's see the logs. Yeah, it failed. I think the problem is the same, the permissions. So if you see stateful validation failed, first of all check the permissions and then debug everything else. Let's see, transfer assets. So we try to transfer from admin to Alice. So admin must have can transfer role. So user has it, admin doesn't. So can transfer. Let's check it now. Actually, transactions are committed into Iroha much faster. I just put a big delay for testing purposes. Four out of 5. Still stateful validation failed. Okay, I will spoil it actually. I will not go into debugging. The point is that if somebody wants to transfer money, he must have can transfer permission, and you must have can receive permission. If you don't know that, you may spend much time debugging it. Something's going on here. Three out of first 5. 4. What do we have? Yeah. First 5 work well. That's a good sign. So get balance method. Oh, we're here already. So let's implement get balance method. Where's that? Oh, it's here. So we have to call it easy. Get balance. The creator, let it be also admin. Admin at domain. The user, we need Alice. Alice's balance. Alice at main. As I told you in the beginning, the user is identified by his name and the domain. Domain and the asset. Okay, asset. That's it. I think we can just comment this out. So it will not. We already have all the changes in the ledger, so we don't have to run it all the time. And we know that it worked. So let's run it. Okay, let's see how get balance works. Get balance, so it creates a query. Here we use query builder. It also has a creator account ID. It has a query counter, created time, and the query itself. Also build, because it's also a builder. Then we send the query, and we have somehow to handle the response. Let's see, send query. Yeah, so we have prepare query, which converts our assigned query to it signs it and converts to protobuf. Then we open a new stub and request it. I mean, we do a request, which will give us query response. So handle response if needed and return it. Let's just return. Yeah, it's so easy. Okay, so it's stateful invalid. Now the query is invalid. So get balance. Let's see. I think it's permissions. So we're admin. We have to can get. Let's see the query. So can get account assets. I think it's called permission. Can get assets. Let's try. No, it's not the right permission. Let's check. Maybe it's account. Let's see the docs. Do we have something for the accounts? No, we need queries. Which query we use? Get account assets. Get account? No. Signatures? No. Transactions? Also no. Get account transactions? No. Also no. Get account assets. Yeah, it's here. No info. Let's check all the permissions. GitHub. You can find all permissions in Iroha repository. Schema and permission. It's primitive proto. Yeah, let's see permissions. Common. No, we need query permissions. Can get all accounts. No. Can get all account assets. So we need all account assets like that. Let's try. It's run. It's already good. So we have to get amount of a given asset. It's here. So we have a query response with all the assets, and then we have to handle it. Let's see how it works. Docs, queries. So here at response we have asset ID, we have account ID and balance. So it's a repeated account asset. Let me check how I did it, because here it's better to see. pair of branch. I have a solved branch. Yeah. Let's see how it works. So we have list. It's a query response, account assets response. So it's account asset list. So we have a list of assets. We filter asset because we're interested in the balance of a given asset. So we filter it for the asset ID. Now, if it's empty, the point is that if a user doesn't have this asset, but in domain it exists, we assume that user has zero of amount of this asset. So if no asset means zero. Then we get the first, so we have its value. But as I told you, the amount in Iroha is stored as UIN 256. That's why we convert it to long, and then return the result. So let's put it here. That's it. Now let's run it. Transfer. Oh, it worked. Now we're here, transfer asset. So illegal argument. So transfer asset must be greater than 0. So does it mean that get balance is 0? Let's print it. Alice balance. Be at 0. Okay. I restarted the ledger, but I didn't run the commands. That's why it's 0. Let's rerun everything. It failed somewhere. So it's committed. So we transferred some asset from admin to Alice. So the Alice should have now 50, but why is it 0? Get balance. Asset. Oh, I see. It should be the asset and domain, because the asset's also defined by its name and domain. Oh, actually, we can comment it. Yes, you see, it's 50. Cool. And this transfer asset was also committed. How was it? Print line. I think we don't need it anymore. What else? Implement get rules. It's easy. It should be easy. Get rules query. So it's we can get an example from the other queries. Get balance. So it's the same. Actually, let's close it. So it's the same. So we have an unsigned query. Well, you query. We use query builder. So it has a creator account ID. Let's use admin for this purpose. Admin add domain, created time, so big integer value of get current time, query counter, it's query counter, what? Also big integer that value of, okay. Now get roles, no, not role permissions, just roles. Oh, it should be get and something. Maybe get domains, no. Let's check the docs. Yeah, it has get roles. Interesting. Okay. Very interesting. It didn't. Okay. The idea didn't say that it has such a query. Okay, we have built it. Now we must send the query. So we have query response equals send query. So it's unsigned query, and the creator. The creator is admin at domain. Now we have to handle the error and return the list. So the same. Actually, we can copy it. No. Else. Else we have query response, not get role response and roles list. That's all. So let's check it. Did I comment it everything? Yes. Actually, I can comment these things too. Hit or use and the asserts in the test. Yep, everything worked. So just for the sake of a clean experiment, let's rerun everything with clean ledger and uncommented lines. Oops. What happened? Okay. So the ledger is clean. Run. Okay. 1 out of 7. I think that's it. Yes, all tests have passed. So at the end of all these queries, transactions, comments, and so on, at the end, we have a list of roles. It's admin and user, which were at the beginning. We didn't do anything with these roles. Then we know that Alice has 13 Soras. Bob has 37 Soras. And the admin has 50 Soras. So now you see the common mistakes that usually people usually make when they're developing apps on Iroha, and you see how can it be done. When the repository is open, you can just find it and use all these helper functions and maybe play with this example. That's it. Thank you for your attention.